Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am back with another speed build, surprise, surprise. But the one big surprise that's actually here is it's a big house. This is a large family home in the world of Willow Creek. It only ends up being a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, but there are a bunch of extra rooms that could definitely be turned into bedrooms if you would prefer. So this could easily be like a 5-bedroom house, probably. It's a pretty big one. It comes in at 159,377 simoleons. And I had so much fun with this. It took me a really long time, though, as you would imagine a house of this scale did. So we have a little bit of a longer video today, a little bit of a longer voiceover for you. I hope you will enjoy this build. If you do and you would like to download it, I will make sure to upload it to the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You can also find it under the hashtag MissGryphi, and that information will also be in the description down below as well. While this shape is coming together, I did want to mention that I would love some fun suggestions for some build ideas. What kind of like smaller builds and apartments and stuff you would like to see. I have a busy couple of weeks coming up leading up to the release of high school years. And so I want to do some more builds and probably some stuff on the smaller side, of course. Because it takes a little bit less time and it's something I'm usually a little bit more passionate about. Although things like this, occasionally I need to build something big, and today was one of those days. So I'm really excited to be sharing this. But if you have any ideas for some smaller builds, some tiny houses, some apartments that you would like to see, please let me know, because I am so down to be doing that. I really am in the mood to build some apartments. I really hope we get another pack sometime soon that adds more. So far, we have city living, and then they added new apartments with eco lifestyle as well. But I think it would be really nice to get them in more packs, in more worlds. And if we ever got more refreshes, I feel like Get Famous would be a great world to add some apartments in, maybe like a whole new neighborhood down by the beach. I would love that. That would be so cool. Anyway, I'm getting very distracted. We're only 2 minutes in, and I'm already talking about concepts for pack refreshes. This is the front of the house coming together here. I end up having a fireplace or a chimney on both sides of the build, and I'm using a variety of wallpapers. I love this brick texture I'm using from Realm of Magic. I also combined a bunch of windows together from Snowy Escape. I think with the exception of like one decorative window I put on the front of the house, all the windows are from Snowy Escape. I ended up using one from Cats and Dogs in the roof on the front, which I don't think I added that yet, but this house also does have a pool, which is really exciting. I don't add pools to my houses very often, just because it feels like such a luxurious thing, and I don't often build like really big, expensive houses. Today is the exception, of course. And then I should be grabbing that window. Yeah, this is the Cats and Dogs window I used, and I have like this little crisscross moment in the roof. I just did that by using some more roof pieces. I thought it looked nice and added a little bit of extra decoration and personality to the front of the house. And then I grabbed some of my favorite trees, which are like the tall, skinny trees. These ones are from Streamlabs OBS. They are technically from Get Together. They're some of my favorites to use. So I grabbed those and was like, okay, what corners can I put these in? And then I was like, this house really should be on a foundation. Let's figure that out, get a nice front porch. So just figuring that out now. I think it works out really, really well here, having the little porch area. But with that, I needed to raise up the foundation by the garage, and that didn't allow me to keep the tiles there for the car. So I ended up getting rid of the car, which is totally fine. It's not functional anyway. This is the Sims 4 we're talking about. So it's just a decorative garage and driveway. I believe I put a car inside though. Once again, not functional, but I put it there. And I actually decorated this house with the garage as a garage, which I thought was pretty cool. It's nice to have space in a house where you could actually do that. It has like the laundry and stuff in it, so it's a functional space as well. But I was able to just give it that garage look with the extra like cabinetry and the woodworking table. I think I put like the holiday decorations in there as well from Seasons. That's like one of my favorite go-to garage items, because I like to just have it so you don't have to go buy one when you want to decorate, but I don't really want that out in my Sims house at the same time. So I don't know. Anyway, decorating the backyard now, and it's mostly just like bushes and a pool. We also end up with some planter boxes. I will be moving those in a little while. I'm not going to be keeping them there. But I actually wanted to talk about something else because my brain is going in like 80 different directions right now because as you might know, there's a new pack coming out, the Sims 4 high school years. And I've known about it for quite some time. As you might have heard, I got to build some of the lots for it. But as soon as I found out about it, I had been thinking, this seems like a pack maybe I'd like to do some gameplay with. Do I want to do that on my channel, in my own time, over on Twitch? I'm not sure. However, I've always wanted to play again with some of the families that I've played with in the past for LPs on my channel. If you didn't know, I used to do a lot of gameplay here on the channel. I have a few like bigger series I did. Vampires, Parenthood, Cats and Dogs. I did a Seasons Let's Play. And I think I did a couple of others as well. I didn't finish all of them, but I think those are the 3 that I finished. And both Vampires and Parenthood had 2 seasons. And I had already been thinking about this a little bit, and then somebody commented over on Twitter that maybe I should, play around with high school years following Amber's kids from Parenthood. And I kind of love that idea. I launched up the game the other day and found that save file, and I've been playing around with fixing up everyone's outfits. So I'm very much considering it. Let me know if you'd like to see some gameplay on the channel later this month with the Sims 4 high school years. I would really love to do that. I know for the majority of the time on the channel, I've just been doing building for a few years now, but I think it could be a nice way to switch things up. Of course, there's going to be tons of builds anyway, and I'll probably also build Amber's new house in Copperdale. So let me know what you think about that, because I think it sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm excited just thinking about it. Anyway, I just talked over the entire backyard. I love getting distracted, but the backyard came together, I think, pretty nicely with like the hot tub, the pool, a lot of lounging space. It feels like a very like family house. And I just realized I don't think I mentioned the concept behind this house. 8 minutes into the video, no big deal. So basically, I really wanted a large house that obviously had kids in it at some point, but they actually are off to college now. So the Sims living here are empty nesters or parents whose kids have moved out. And so it's a house that's way too big for them, but it has all of the remnants of the family that they raised here, and maybe the kids come home between college semesters or whatever idea you have in mind. I wrote down the idea empty nesters forever ago, and I didn't know exactly how I wanted to go about it, but I kept thinking of like a bigger house. Like they were very established in their careers, they raised their kids, and they have this beautiful home. So that was the idea behind this. But I also think this house could work really nicely with the high school pack if you wanted a house that just has lots of space for a bunch of kids in it and a bunch of teenagers who are going to go through like all of the drama of high school. So that was the idea behind this. I don't know why it took me so long to talk about that, but we're working on the floor plan now. Downstairs, there is 1 bathroom. Upstairs, there are 2. One is the ensuite for the primary bedroom, and one is just a hall bath. We have like technically like 2 living rooms. We have like a playroom / like rumpus room upstairs. There's an office downstairs. There's the garage. There's just like a lot of extra space in this house. Moving on to the kitchen now, I was able to fit a very spacious kitchen in this build, which I think makes sense for a big family home like this. I feel like it's pretty proportional to the size of the house. But I don't normally make kitchens this big, so it felt very strange to me. Because I'm just used to like more compact kitchens in like smaller homes and apartments and all of that. But I really like how this one came out. I feel like it feels very like luxurious and has a lot of nice items in here. I did go for a little bit more of a traditional like older look for a lot of the cabinetry, flooring, tiles, all of that in this house. I just thought it made sense for the concept I had in mind. It's a very like beautiful, well-established house, but maybe a lot of the things haven't been updated. They're still in amazing condition. They're still really nice. I just wouldn't consider them to be like modern and new. So that was the idea here. We have a couple of like plants around the space. I made sure to get a microwave and a coffee pot, some chairs at the island, and my favorite cutting boards I had to include as well. And then just getting a hutch over here in this empty space of the kitchen that we needed to fill up some space. And yeah, just getting a couple more decorations over here using the handy dandy red shelf to go ahead and place some items. I feel like I haven't explained the red shelf in a while. If you see that big block that is bright red right there, that is a piece of custom content I use. I do not keep it in the build, so you're able to download this no problem if you do not have the red shelf, if you don't use CC, if you're on console, all of that. It just allows me to place things at a more precise level, and I, remove it after I place the item. So there's nothing tied to CC there, but if you would like to download it, I do link it in the description of all of my videos. I also have a tutorial in my tutorial playlist on how to effectively use the red shelf, if you're interested in that. But it's a super amazing item, highly recommend. So you should check that out if you're interested. Anyway, this is the living room space. I am figuring out some built-in cabinetry. That's just something I associate with homes like this. So that is something I wanted to include. They do have some new sofas in here though. They got some nice new modern sofas from the Dream Home Decorator pack. No, they didn't go to the store. They got it from the Dream Home Decorator pack. And so we're just grabbing those here now. And I also thought about using like base game curtains, and they weren't the vibe. So I ended up grabbing these ones instead from Seasons, and then just getting a nice coffee table in the middle, which is actually from base game. We got it a few years ago now in an update, and then just adding a TV over on the ledge. That one ends up disappearing because I placed it with move objects. And I like raised up with the 9 and 0 keys, but later on I remembered that this particular fireplace is just thin enough on the top that you can actually place one of the wall mounted TVs, and it looks like it's mounted on there without having to use any like moving things around. You need move objects on because it's technically clipping, but like you don't need to raise anything up, which is very helpful. It just automatically looks like it's in the right spot. Anyway, over here, just getting a mirror and stuff as some more decoration. I also got a Lindsay speaker, which is essentially Alexa, and a flower. Why couldn't I think of the word flower? We got a plant over there. I like to add plants all throughout my builds. I just think it adds so much. And there's the TV I was mentioning. It just like fits so perfectly up there, and I'm glad I remembered that I could do that. And then I just needed to get some artwork because the walls felt a little bit too empty for my taste. And I believe a tray is the last thing we'll be adding in here before we move on into the next room, which is going to be the more like entryway / formal sitting room. So I have a little bit more traditional furniture in here. We have a nice grand piano, and I just think it's a really cute, cozy space. I don't normally have space for things like this in the houses that I build. I've also not experienced this in real life. I've never had like an extra room like this in a home I've lived in. So it's just not something I think to do, but this house was so big and I was like, you know what? We'll add it. I think it's a pretty normal thing. It's just not my experience. So I decided to add that. I love this light that we got from the Decor to the Max kit. It's just so pretty. So I had to add that in here. And of course, like some plants and a couple of other lamps and some curtains in here as well. And then we are moving on into the dining room, using the beautiful table from Seasons, and it's just like a really calming vibe in here. I really like all of the browns, the beiges. I think this whole interior screams like a certain, I don't know if it would be generation or a certain like time period of interior design where everything's like super beige, a little bit more traditional, but there's a couple of like more modern elements brought in. I feel like this looks like a home from a certain time frame, but I don't know exactly what that is. Like I recognize it. And I obviously based it off of that, but I'm bad with time frames. When I see people posting things about like, oh, that is so 2014 or so 2016 or 2008 or whatever, I'm like, I don't remember what years things were. I remember trends, but I couldn't tell you what year they were at all. Just no idea. Although some of the things they're like, oh, remember when people used to dress like this in this year? And I'm like, I still dress like that. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent again, but I want to know if anyone relates to that because I don't know what happens ever. I don't know what year things were, Anyway, this is the office space. I have a bunch of filing cabinets in here, a nice desk, bookcase, all of that. I just wanted it to look realistic, I guess. And I feel like a lot of people I know who have had offices at home have filing cabinets full of all sorts of files that they need for their jobs. So I thought that that would be a nice thing to have. I've never really liked the way filing cabinets look, but I love the functionality of them. So I have filing boxes, which I think are nice. But I feel like I'm outgrowing those and would end up getting a filing cabinet. I wonder if there's any like nice looking filing cabinets. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, I got a couch in here and some more filing cabinets because I just couldn't have enough. And I thought about adding a wall-mounted bookcase as well, but it didn't end up working out in here. So I just got a poof in the corner. And I think that's pretty much it for this office space. Just getting some more plants. And what else did I add? Did I add another plant? I added another plant. I should have known that. I always add more plants. Anyway, this is going to be the garage space. As I had mentioned, I put a car in here. We got a convertible, which is quite exciting. And it just barely fit in here. I moved it over to the side so we could utilize the space and have your Sims actually be able to route properly in here. I haven't noticed if this car like actually has a footprint or not. I know a lot of the items in debug and show live edit objects do not have a footprint, so your Sims will walk right through them, but some of them do. So I just wanted to make sure that it was pushed over enough to the side that it wouldn't be an issue with all of the items that I wanted your Sims to be able to use, like the woodworking table, the parenthood board, the laundry, all of that. Also, I don't show it here because I forgot. But later on, I realized I hadn't added a laundry basket, so that ends up being in the garage as well, so it's right next to the machines, because for gameplay, that makes the most sense. Realistically, you'd have laundry baskets all over the house, but for gameplay, you kind of need it to be close to the washing machine, so that's what I ended up doing. But this is the primary bedroom. It's massive, and it's very green right now. I'm going to be changing some of the color swatches to make it a little bit more neutral. The curtains end up being white. And it's just like a really, really big room. And it has like a weird little hallway coming off of it with a window out the front of the house. I loved how that looked in the roof line, so I decided to keep it. But inside, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I guess I have seen houses that have those where they're just like a little, I guess, alcove for the dormers outside. So that's kind of what that is here. It's a little odd. I also rotated those paintings with tulle, because I wanted something vertical in that space, but I wanted something that style, so it just worked out nicely. Because I finally updated Tool and re-added it to my game. That and, what is it called? Better Build By, so I could organize debug. It's so helpful. Oh my gosh, that's another mod I will make sure I have linked down below. That's by Twisted Mexi, and so good. So amazing for building if you are into that, so definitely recommend that as well. That is one that, you kind of have to keep in your game for it to work. But the builds that use it, you can still download those without having that mod or any kind of CC. So they're very helpful because you don't have to keep them, if that makes sense. Anyway, I decided to at least put a functional item in that little nook. So I put a easel there, and then we're moving on into this extra room upstairs. I was thinking it was a space that the kids used to hang out, and I add a TV in here, a comfy couch, maybe it's like their old couch, and we end up getting a gaming console and just like a bunch of activities in here. I was thinking it was a playroom of some sort, but maybe when they were younger, there was a lot more toys in here, but as they got older, it was more of a like hangout spot. And of course, the kids have moved out now, so who knows what this family is going to be turning some of these rooms into as time goes on. I think that could be a really fun story to tell, but I did end up keeping like one toy box in here. I was thinking maybe there were a couple of items left over from when they were kids that their parents just never got rid of, so they are still in this room. I think that's pretty realistic as well. Just have that box of stuff you had from when you were a kid. I wish I had more of mine actually, but I also added a bunch of framed video game posters in here. I thought that made sense for the room that has all of the gaming. We have a fishbowl, and then I'm just adding some books and stuff over on this little ledge here under the TV. I made like a TV unit out of the cabinets, similar to what I did downstairs around the fireplace. But upstairs, it's to like hold the TV in, and I got a nice comfy chair over there as well. And then just getting a couple more decorations on the walls before moving on into the two teenager college student bedrooms, I guess. Because when you start college, at least here in the US, you're technically still a teenager. So, but in game it would be young adult. But Anyway, I kind of decorated them for older teenagers that moved out. So there are some decorations in here, but I tried not to make them messy because these Sims aren't even living here anymore. That was the idea anyway. So this is the first one. I was thinking this was the older of the two children and that they were really into music. So they have like musical posters and a guitar. And I think it's just like a really calming vibe in here. I love the colors of like the oranges and the yellows, a little bit of green in with that curtain. And then over on this side, I wanted to add a desk and a bookcase, just like a little study area. So just figuring that out. I ended up grabbing the one from the kids' room pack. I just thought it worked a little bit better for what I was going for, and it's a little bit more colorful as well. And then just getting like some photos and stuff up above there. There's a string of photos and like lights from kids' room stuff that is so cute. I used a lot of kids' room stuff, I guess, because I'm about to grab a wardrobe from there as well, which I thought worked nicely. And I ended up using the same one in a different swatch over in this room. For this kid, I was thinking maybe they were originally into like track and all of that. I'm calling them kids, but these are like young adults that moved out. But hopefully you understand what I mean. They're the kids of the family. So I ended up just keeping this one pretty purple, to be honest. It's a little bit more brighter in color. I feel like they're a little bit more of an energetic sim. And so I gave them like running posters, sports posters. And I added one thing in here I should be grabbing here shortly that I'm not sure if this sim originally had or the parents put it in here after they moved out because they bought it and they needed a space to put it. And since the kid isn't living here anymore, this would be a good room. And that's a treadmill. So you'll see that in a minute. It's kind of squeezed into this room, but maybe it was just the room it made the most sense in. So that's being added here. And that's pretty much it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a blast building this. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. That really does help me out. You can also subscribe to the channel if you have not already and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Thank you so very much for watching. Enjoy the screenshots and I'll see y'all soon. Bye everyone.